Hey guys, welcome back. So, students, for the first time when they see an animation film, they get a lot of questions like how it is made, how the coloring is done, how this is done, how animation is done, how can they talk. So, there are lots and lots of questions they have when they see the movie for the first time. So, then they get curious about knowing how it is created. So, I'm creating this video to let everybody know about the stages through which a movie gets and created and finalized to the output we see on the television or the theaters. So it all starts with a thought. A thought comes in a mind and then it gets converted into a story. So then the story is jotted out on paper so that everybody can read what the story is. So, based on the story, the characters are designed by the 2D people, like who design characters. So, the characters are designed on the basis of the characteristics of of the character. Suppose in the story, in the movie, this guy is playing an angry person's role. So, his face, his clothing, his body structure would be like that of an angry person. So, by just looking at the character we'll come to know that this guy is angry all the time. So in that way, according to the studies of human body face, in that way the characters are designed on paper. Then those characters designed on paper are scanned and moved to the 3D softwares so that those characters can be created in 3D. And parallelly the other work is going on, like the storyboard thing. So the characters which are designed, either they use the same for the storyboard or they use a rough sketches for creating a storyboard. The storyboard is a storyline, like if we see magazines, so how we correlate with the story, like on every picture we read and we see the images, so we come to know that this is the story. So in that way a storyboard is created, a very rough storyboard is created of the movie, so that we come to know that this is the story. So at that point of time we don't have to read the story. Now we can we can understand the story just watching the storyboard. So that storyboard helps in that. Again, after the storyboard is completed, so parallelly the modeling thing is going on, the characters modeling. And then from this 2D thing, then parallelly, for the after the modeling, the next step, which is texturing. So what will be the colors of the clothes, how will be the cloth, that thing is taken care of after the modeling is done or parallel to the modeling. And then lighting is also done. Lighting means they'll put a spotlight, the character lighting will be done so that they can get a rendered output and we can see the finalized characters, that how the character will look in the movie. Exact character is then then we finalize the character. So that is for that. So we saw modeling, texturing, and this all goes in parallel. The storyboard is then refined, again refined a little bit, and then these guys work on the BG also, like what will be the set, where will be the movie conducted, what will be the scene. So suppose it is in a forest, so the forest scene will be created. So the modelers, the BG modelers will have to model the background, will have to create the background. So background modeling is done again. Then comes the rigging part. Rigging is putting the bone structure into the character so that it can be animated. Like what we see, the movements, the expressions, what we see, to do that, we need rigs. So, suppose a human body does not have bones. So, Do you think we'll be able to move our hands like from the joints or like the head? No. So the same thing goes in the 3D animation as well. If we don't rig the character, we cannot animate the character because we don't have the bones in that, the structure in that. So where it will move, from where it will move, how much it will move, that all parameters are decided in the rigging part, and the controllers are given to move the hands and everything, like every body part is given a controller to move, even the expressions, the facial, so that we can animate at a good level. If the facial is done very well, then the expressions can be created at a much good level. Then comes the animation part. So in animation, as I've already mentioned in my other videos as well, animation is the thing of acting, like whatever the motion you see in the movie, that is animation. So till now we are just having characters stand still, like they don't perform any action. So now what animators do is, the storyboard which is created, that is given with the voiceover. So there is a background voice of every character in the storyboard, and a video is created for the whole movie, like the 2D video, the storyboard video. So in which you come to know that what is the story, but we can only see the diagrams, like the only the basic sketches of the story. So looking at that, the animators create those scenes. Like suppose this is the camera and there is a sound, like they are speaking something. So based on that, the actions are created by the animators, and then it gets approved and finalized by the client, and then the whole scene goes for lighting. So suppose a scene is created, animation is done, animation is finalized by the client as well. So this is done. So then the file goes to the lighting department, which does lighting. So the scene lighting, where is the scene conducted, what is the mode, like is it a day or night, or is it in a room, the scene is in a room. So according to the conditions, the lighting is set on the scene, in the scene. So that comes for lighting after the animation. Then when everything is done, it gets rendered. So rendering is getting the thing out of the software as a movie, as still images. Actually they are still, actually they are images. So the movement of images when stacked together, they look like a movie. So the movie we see that first gets rendered as frames. So we have 24 frames per second. So in 1 second of animation, 24 images are rendered. So you can just imagine that how much time it takes to get the render done, because the more complicated the scene, the more time it takes for rendering. A lot of time. If you see the Disney movies, you can just Google it. How much time does it take to render a single frame? You will be shocked. Some of the best movies took around 72 hours for a single frame to render. So that time consuming it is. But then for render, there are render farms. You cannot render that high quality in our PC. In a normal PC, the PC will burst out. So there are render farms where the movie is rendered, and then after the rendering is done, then the compositing is done, then the effects is done on the file. Effects means the special effects, wherever the dirt or the smoke or that thing is created. Then again the finalized sound is input in the software with the final video we have, the images we have, the rendered output. Then it gets finalized, and then the credits and everything are done. So at that point of time, the movie is finalized. Again, it is always checked that where are the flaws. So after creating the movie also, if there are flaws somewhere in some scene, so if there is a timeline or deadline remaining, so it is a chance that they can say to recreate that scene, because you cannot take a chance in a movie for something bad. So this is the whole process of creating the animated movie. So this I have just summarized in a short way just to complete it, because we don't have that much of time to explain. If I show you in the software or when you learn, then it would be more understanding for you that how the process is done. But this is a theory part, I'm just explaining it to you. So I hope that you got a good insight about the making of a 3D animation movie. If you have any doubts or any sort of questions, do reach out to me, or you can mention in the comment box below. I would be happy to answer you. Till then, bye bye and take care.